He landed with over 260 bullet impacts in his plane. The Navy counted every single one. Then they classified the entire mission, sealed the records, and told him this never happened. For 50 years, he stayed silent. What you're about to hear was buried for decades, not because it wasn't true, but because it was too dangerous to be known. This is the story of Lieutenant Royce Williams, U.S. Navy fighter pilot, Korean War, 1952. He took off on what was supposed to be a routine patrol. 35 minutes later, he had faced 7 Soviet fighter jets, alone, and walked away. Then the United States government erased the entire incident. You clicked because the title sounded impossible. 1 pilot, 7 enemy jets, 1 mission that officially never existed. Here's why they buried it. If the world learned that American and Soviet pilots had fought directly, that pilots had died on both sides, the Cold War could have turned hot. So the Navy didn't erase the man. They erased the story. But first, you need to understand why this happened at all. The Soviet Union was not officially at war with the United States. Officially, the Korean War was between North and South Korea. America was there to support the South. China had entered to support the North. But the Soviets? They were ghosts. They sent pilots, trainers, weapons, but always in secret, always deniable. Soviet pilots flew with Chinese markings, spoke only Chinese on the radio, were ordered to eject over friendly territory if shot down. The world was never supposed to know they were there. And for the most part, it worked. Until November 18th, 1952. Earlier that morning, American aircraft had launched a strike in northeastern North Korea, close to the Soviet border. Too close. U.S. intelligence assets in the region detected heightened Soviet communications activity. What they intercepted confirmed the worst. 7 MiG-15s had launched from Vladivostok, not to patrol, not to observe, to retaliate. And they were heading straight toward the American fleet. November 18th, 1952, the Sea of Japan. The aircraft carrier, USS Oriskany, is operating dangerously close to the Soviet port of Vladivostok. A winter storm is battering the deck. Visibility is poor. The men on board have no idea what's coming. Lieutenant Royce Williams climbs into his F-9 F-5 Panther. His mission is simple: combat air patrol. Protect the carrier group from anything approaching from the north. A standard assignment, nothing unusual. He launches with 3 other Panthers. They climb through the storm and break through the clouds. Clear skies above, and that's when Williams looks up. 7 contrails, far above them, at extreme altitude. They aren't North Korean, they aren't Chinese, they are Soviet MiG-15s. The most feared fighter jet of the Korean War, flying directly from Vladivostok, heading straight toward the American fleet. This is not supposed to happen. Within seconds, everything falls apart. A mechanical issue forces the flight leader to turn back. Another pilot escorts him. The formation is cut in half. Williams and 1 wingman remain, 2 American jets, against 7 Soviet MiGs. Then his wingman's guns jam. Williams is now the only pilot who can fight. Orders come over the radio. Climb and intercept. He pushes the throttle forward. Past 20,000 feet, past 26,000, alone. Flying directly into 7 enemy aircraft. What you need to understand is this. The MiG-15 was faster than his Panther, more maneuverable, better armed, and there were 7 of them. Williams had 1 advantage. His gun sight was more accurate. That's it. 1 advantage against 7 of the most dangerous pilots in the world. What happens next is not a single dramatic moment. It's 35 minutes of survival. The Soviet pilots are experienced. They have altitude advantage, they have numbers, they have superior aircraft, and they want him dead. Williams has one thing: his instincts, and he uses every single one of them. He turns, again and again, pulling so hard the airframe groans. Every time a MiG lines up behind him, he brakes, forces an overshoot, reverses, fires. A MiG drops out of formation, but the others keep coming. This isn't a dogfight anymore. It's a hunt. And Williams is both the prey and the predator. His aircraft takes hits, then more hits. Warning lights flash across the cockpit. Hydraulics are failing. Controls are becoming sluggish. Fuel is dropping fast. He's now fighting with a crippled jet against pilots who smell blood. Another MiG goes down, then another. Williams keeps turning, keeps fighting, keeps surviving. But his ammunition is running out, round by round, until the guns click empty. He has nothing left. No bullets, barely any fuel, and a plane that's falling apart around him. A fourth Soviet aircraft fails to return. The remaining MiGs finally break off. Williams descends into the clouds. He's still alive, barely. Williams emerges from the storm. The USS Oriskany appears ahead. His aircraft barely responds. Every input is a negotiation with a dying machine. He lines up the deck. One chance. If he misses the wire, he doesn't have enough fuel to go around. The deck is pitching in heavy seas. He's coming in too fast. His damaged plane won't slow down properly. The wheels hit steel. The arresting hook catches. He is down. Deck crews rush the aircraft. They begin counting the damage. Over 260 confirmed bullet impacts. The plane is beyond repair. It will never fly again. Neither will the gun camera footage that recorded everything. Both are removed and quietly made to disappear. Within hours, Williams is summoned. Not to a routine debrief, but to a private meeting with Vice Admiral Robert Briscoe. His actions are confirmed. The opposing pilots were Soviet Navy. Multiple enemy aircraft were lost. But here's the problem. American intelligence had been listening to Soviet communications. That's how they knew the MiGs were coming. If the mission became public, Moscow would know their codes were compromised. A critical advantage would be lost. And if the world learned that American and Soviet pilots had fought directly, that pilots had died on both sides, the Cold War could have turned hot. So the order is given. Williams is never to speak of this mission. Not to fellow pilots, not to his family, not to anyone. The records are rewritten. Reports are softened. Details disappear. Royce Williams is ordered to continue his career as if none of it ever happened. And he obeys. For more than 50 years. Think about that for a moment. He carried this secret through the rest of his military career, through retirement, through decades of watching other pilots receive recognition for far less. He never said a word, not once. Not even to his wife. Because his country asked him not to. The Soviet Union collapses in 1991. Archives open, and slowly the other side of the story emerges. Russian military historians begin piecing together what happened that day over the Sea of Japan. 7 Soviet MiG-15s launched from Vladivostok. 4 never came back. Losses attributed to a single American aircraft. In 2014, Russian historian Igor Saidov publishes the full findings. The story is finally confirmed, not by the United States, but by Russia. The truth is now out. But recognition takes longer. In January 2023, more than 70 years after the mission, Royce Williams' Silver Star is upgraded to the Navy Cross, the second highest decoration in the U.S. Navy. He is 98 years old when he receives it. But the effort doesn't stop there. Veterans, historians, and members of Congress push for more. For the recognition the mission truly deserves. On February 4th, 2026, it is officially announced Royce Williams will receive the Medal of Honor, the highest military decoration in the United States. He has been waiting since 1952. He is now 100 years old. The ceremony is still ahead. 1 pilot, 7 Soviet jets, 35 minutes, 4 enemy aircraft destroyed, over 260 bullet impacts. For half a century, it officially never happened. He kept the secret. He followed orders. He never asked for recognition. And now, 73 years later, He is still here, still waiting for the ceremony. The only pilot in U.S. Navy history to face 7 enemy jets alone and walk away.